last week. So you're fighting a bunch of ash snakes. Lilypad saw a rabbit and a hare who were riding one. You later found them again back in Winnowing Reach, which is the village between Meadowfen and Alderheart. You met up with the rabbit and the hare again, which was Jack and Lexi. King's had a bit of a crush on Lexi. Princess Luna had a vision about the turtle who gave her the wand, which told them that her old mentor has advised them to go visit the librarian in the Avium. So you're heading off in that direction. You're going to pass through Alderheart, where Jack and Lexi are going to get off. It takes another few days to get there by road. As you approach, the first thing you see are 4 gigantic circular stone platforms that seem to be floating along towers in the center of a huge tree trunk, which is made of stone. So there's no leaves on it, no branches. 100-meter tall tree stump. As you are approaching this tree trunk, you see 2 perch guards, so they're bird folk carrying pikes. Moments later, a robed hawk comes down, lands at your feet, bows his head, and looks up at Princess Luna. Oh yes, you must be Princess Luna?
Queen Princess Luna.
Great things we've heard about you. We have such high expectations, and we've been waiting your arrival here for such a long time. Please come inside with us. And are these your guard?
These are my companions. We are pretty big in Alderheart.
Greetings, all of you. Any friends of Alderheart are certainly our friends as well. And he takes off his amulet, pushes you over to the big trunk itself. As he presses his amulet against the trunk, you see the same symbol that was on the amulet just kind of spread out across the trunk itself in a weird bluish light. And then 2 giant doors appear in the trunk and open inwards. At the far end, you see a main desk, which behind it is a scribe who has tiny glasses on his massive eyes, just writing down a bunch of stuff, and loads of chairs and tables are situated around. Floating platforms just appear that take you up the trunk itself. You've got portraits lining all the walls.
Place sounds absolutely beautiful.
Okay, so you step onto a platform and it begins circling up the trunk itself. Before long, you reach a round office. On all sides, it's just got windows that look out over the vast wood, but you can see the top of Alderheart in the far distance, a few days travel away. Many of the tables are filled with disorganized piles of books, and the desk is similar, just mess. A blue feathered bird brushes his beak because he's got dust and stuff over, and he's like, "Oh, please excuse me. 200 of my students are feces. Want to lose track of time. Very, extremely, terribly sorry." He is the dean.
What's he wearing?
A green robe. He's got and also got the amulets of the Avium.
Is that the same amulet that opened the door? Is it the same sort of pattern?
Exactly the same, yeah. What information are you looking for as you enter this place?
Just general knowledge.
Got a quiz coming up. Need to brush up on my general knowledge.
Or fire elementals or anything like that.
He brushes his beak again, just wipes off some of the more dust that he's just got from all the books in here. It's like, "Oh, if I want to find any information on something that old and powerful in just any library. Thankfully, the Avium was built on the greatest storage of knowledge in the centuries."
What?
He waffles on about all this nonsense about the tomes and the books and the whole library itself. And he says, "You won't find anywhere but here in this great place." No disclaimer. Some of the tomes are a little deadly, but worry not, the librarians are experts. They help you point to the right direction.
Sound like a Polish person actually having a stroke.
We all just stood here in awe at this thing speaking.
He opens a little drawer, rummages through for a bit, hands you one each of these similar amulets to what he's got, but much less ground. They're made of bronze. He explains that they'll grant them full access to the Avium as you spend your time here. So they're for guest researchers, he explains, and says that the entire library is open for you to investigate whatever you're here for. You're welcome to stay for as long as you wish, and he directs you to where all the apartments are. You're basically in a wizard college. He is the dean of the place, and you're welcome to explore the various platforms that are around.
Sorry, I want to have a conversation with the guy.
I want to try to figure out how to defeat this fire thing.
Are there any histories?
Loads.
Can I go find the history of 30 years of wherever I come from?
Yes, you can absolutely do that.
I'm just going to wander around. I'm not too sure yet.
I want to go look at some law books.
So you're trying to figure out how to legally adopt Kingsley?
Yeah, but just the general running of the kingdom and stuff.
All of you, except for Princess Luna, who stays with this guy, descend down into the lower libraries of the place. Lilypad just wanders off. In one of the platforms, you've got dormitories. You find towers, terrariums with different biomes and all the type of natural research stuff. And then in one of them, you find a training grounds almost for battling, but it's all done through illusions. So you've found some potion brewers who grant you access to all the resources if you want to try brewing some potions as well. You find some bardic meditation spots.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so Harold goes off and joins the bardic meditation where you all kind of do tunes together.
Drum circle.
You swap stories and learn new songs together.
Yeah, I'll meditate. Mm-hmm.
Relic and Lucille head down, I'm guessing, into the library together.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you reach the bottom of this winding staircase and you enter a room filled with rows and rows of books that stretch off down a massive hall. Loads of magical torches just illuminate the entire library and they kind of float above, in midair. You see a wise and old grey owl in a purple robe, and he's got a tiny beak and tiny glasses that go on top of the beak, and then his eyes are just huge. He introduced himself as Mordain. And as you approach him, he lowers his book. The BBME. You're here to study monsters.
Fire elementals.
Okay, that's a dangerous subject, one that we reserve only for the faculty. You can search at least of the upper libraries, gain any knowledge of something more to your standards.
Can I sneak into the upper place?
You'd most likely be able to get into the lower library if you can just sneak in. Can I have a stealth check, please?
24.
You pass 2 elk gargoyles as you head into the lower library. It's just a massive stone door, really. And as you head down there, their eyes seem to follow you in. Relic, are you studying history?
Yes.
So you go sit down, start uncovering piles of books that relate to the place of your birth.
I just want to find any record of me or any activities I may have partaken in.
Princess Luna, you're speaking to the Dean still.
Hello, Mr. Dean. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Can I just say, this is one of the nicest libraries which I have ever had the pleasure and privilege to step in. It's stunning in here.
Well, it's not just library. It's a wizard school.
A wizard school, did you say?
Wizard school.
Oh, well, I'm a wizard. Do you know who Sheldon the Sheld is?
That name escapes me.
He taught me magic.
You're not traditionally trained then?
No, I wasn't traditionally trained, no, but I mean, I'm more than willing to put the time in to learn.
Well, if you want to apply, it won't take too long.
That would be really good, but I do have a quick question for you. From one of Sheldon the Sheld's associates, I was given this stone. I was told to take it here. I was wondering, do you have any information on it at all?
He takes the stone and he looks at it in his hands. No, I know nothing about this. Turns it over in his hands. You could speak to the librarian. Maybe he would know more than I will.
Oh, I see. Okay, no worries. I'll have a conversation with the librarian in that case. Thanks very much for your time.
Enjoy your stay here. Harold and Lilypad, as you look at the sun beginning to set, the circle you've managed to gather is a massive mix of bird folk and humble folk. There's a few mice there who are really enjoying themselves, and Lilypad makes eyes with a toad across from her who is playing bagpipes also. And you learn a few things from this guy, and as evening comes, you all descend with Princess Luna down to the library to find Relic and Lucille down there. The librarian ushers you in.
Hi, you must be the librarian.
Are you a part of the BBMF2?
The BBMG. To help you remember, it stands for the Blackberry Messenger Gang. I was wondering, do you by any chance have any information on this stone here?
He's like, scratches his head and he's like, I'm afraid I've never seen such a thing in my life before.
That's okay. Neither have I.
Where did you acquire it? Was it off a body of someone, or did you?
It was gifted to me by a friend of my old teacher, Sheldon the Sheld.
I'm afraid that name doesn't mean anything to me. Did he teach here?
No, he taught privately. He taught me magic when I was orphaned twice.
Very, very sorry for your loss.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Can I just have an insight check from Princess Luna, please?
An unnatural 1? My insight is -1. I got a 2.
So as he hands the stone back to you, and he's just like, enjoy. You stay in the library. I must warn you that the lower library is open only to faculty, and we're going to start closing up in about 20 minutes. So please, if you need any reference, then come straight to me. Otherwise, I'm sure the rest of your friends are in there somewhere.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go and find my friends.
Lucille is nowhere to be found because she is searching the lower library. Please can I have an investigation check, Lucille?
21.
As you begin looking into these books, it takes you so many hours. Is it just elementals you're looking into?
specifically fire elementals?
So the most important thing you're going to get from the books that you look through is that this size of the one that you've seen in Humblewood, it's usually an elder elemental. So it's not just your common little elemental, but this is like a giant of significant importance. But they'll take a lot of conjuration magic to summon. In one of the older books, you discover this exact passage. Elemental creatures composed of fire that also possess earth elemental traits tend to be incredibly strong and durable and do not appear to retain their vulnerability to cold-typed magics. However, cold-type magic should theoretically be able to, and then the next page has been torn out.
Well, I can't ask the librarian because I'm down here.
The rest of you join up and speak with Lucille.
Hi, Lucille. Did you find what you were looking for?
No, the page is torn out and I show him the book.
Ooh, that does look like it's been torn out.
I think we have two
Excellent
options.
detective work.
Either we look
Yeah.
for someone who is able to conjure a great fire elemental, or we look for someone who can conjure a water elemental to defeat the fire elemental, or we immigrate all of Humblewood. I vote option 3 because it's a lot less work.
If you were immigrating, then everyone would be coming to Humblewood.
We evacuate Humblewood.
Can I have a look at the book, please?
Yes.
Is it handwritten?
Yeah.
Was it the last page that was torn out?
No, so it's just a random page in the center of the book that's been torn out. So you all look into the corner as you notice a small pile of books drop off the table, all open on the ground.
Oh.
Ghosts.
I approach the book.
And you notice that most of them are just to do with creatures in general, beasts of the forest, such as snakes and, cows and such. Usual
Beasts in the forest.
What is this?
So you find with goblins, but I introduce a cow in a forest and suddenly it's all magical. The page that's fallen open to is specifically on snakes.
Like the fire snakes.
Yeah.
No, just standard snakes.
Oh.
I suppose we can just read it, can we?
Just roll an investigation check if you want to see if there's any fire snakes in there.
Oh, that's an 8.
Investigation check, or just look at the index of the book.
Princess Luna looks at the index of the book. There's no ash snakes mentioned in the index, and so she closes it before looking further.
Do ash snakes possibly have a more common name that we just missed? Like, they are
Smouldering Sliver.
They're just under something else. That's it. That's the one.
Lilypad can have a better look in the book if she thinks that Princess Luna's just screwed up a bit.
I will.
And so you go through it meticulously as the librarian comes over towards you and kind of stuttering is just a bit like, we were supposed to be closed 10 minutes ago. I've been lenient with you, but notices in Lucille's possession the book that you've taken from the lower library. This should not be here in this part of the library. This is foul stuff, and closes the book.
Really? I found it in the chick flick section.
The children's section? Oh my
Yes.
god. Puts it into his robe and begins walking away and ushering you all out. Do you
Okay.
follow
Can
him?
I sneak back in?
You can try.
I want to stay overnight in this library and find out as much as I can.
Who's going to have a stealth check?
Oh, natural 20!
So as everyone's ushered out, Lucille stays seated as you all begin heading back upstairs. As he looks back, he notices the table is empty as Lucille has made her way into like the rafters area where she is completely hidden. You're shown into your dormitory, which is a single room in just like a round hut type thing with windows lining the walls. So there are about 7, 8 beds in there, and you all claim one. Kingsley sets his little bag down, takes out his own blanket. He's like, it's already past my bedtime. I'm so tired. I don't like books. Books are boring. Even the chick lit section was full of crap. He's in a bit of a bad mood because of all the traveling. He just flumps up his pillow and then just flops down onto the bed. So you all settle down for the evening, and Lucille has spent the entire evening. Found another book later in the evening. The only passage that seems to speak of elder elementals is it says elder elementals have strong connections to the energy of their aspected elements. This connection could be so strong that, and then the next page is ripped out again.
This feels like sabotage.
Okay, can I spend the rest of the time researching adoption laws?
Yes, you can, absolutely. As you've been looking through adoption laws, clicks in your mind to begin searching for birth certificates. 4 in the morning, actually. Find one of more recent ones, and you do find Kingsley in there. The next day dawns. What are you all wanting to do today?
I actually want to attend some lectures on conjuration.
You begin a very interesting lecture in conjuration. As you sit in, it seems to be very relevant to elementals in particular. Usually with conjuration, you need some kind of energy transformation. And so if you're conjuring something, you need the same amount of energy to be in the magic.
Based on power, if you wanted to conjure a giant, you would need to have that sort of magic power to do it.
You'll need something to contain that magic power.
Like a stone.
A stone or a seal?
A seal?
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 Yeah!
Come here.
The big elemental thing that you saw, something like that, would need a very significant seal to conjure such a thing.
All elementals, can they occur naturally, or do they have to be conjured?
They have to be conjured.
Oh, so there is like a source.
You can gather that much from this one lecture.
Technically, this one's called hot sauce.
There's a hot sauce.
I would quite like any lectures on healing.
Some of the bards that you saw yesterday begin attending this same lecture. The difference between healing word and cure wounds, which you now finally recognise the difference. With healing word, you've got to speak it. With cure wounds, you do have to touch it, unless you have a familiar to channel it, in which case the familiar can touch the being.
What a helpful little bit of knowledge.
Did I find a history?
You found a history book.
I would like to rip out any relevant pages.
So you spent yesterday and you took the book back to the dormitory. Completes chronological history of the city of Gurk and the surrounding towns and villages. So you rip out some pages that seem to be surrounding specifically your ancestors. So in your mind, you're erasing them from history.
I'll burn them. I don't think there's any point in me going to any lectures, is there? Can't really do anything. I will go for a jog.
So you go for a quick run around the campus. Then you pass loads of students who are carrying tons of books.
Are there any lectures on fortune telling?
There is a whole thing on divination. Specifically today, they're talking about reading the stars. The lecture seems to be one of the more well-informed ones that you've seen around, terms that you're mostly familiar with, but a lot of them are well advanced as being talking about fate in the vastness of the universe. Discuss with other fortune tellers around and you're able to pick up a few tips and tricks. You now understand more of the vastness of how everything is connected. As the day comes to a close, you all return now to your dormitory. Lucille, have you still been in the library this whole time?
I've been sleeping as well. I've
Been
been
on
like
acid.
hiding in a corner in a book fort.
You're a bit bleary-eyed as you go into your little corner ready to sleep, and you notice again in the other side of the library a bunch of books fall off the shelves, and then about 2 seconds later on an opposite shelf 6-7 feet away from the original ones falling over, you notice again some more fall over off the shelf.
Can I ask the ghosts hello?
You shout hello and it echoes into the deep library. You all go into the library again to find Lucille, realising that she's been missing. The BBMG step over these books as they come closer to you.
I've got bags under my eyes.
Yeah, you're very tired.
I see everything.
Big book, mysterious ghosts.
Can you roll for Arcana? I say that because I'm too sleep deprived. The books are flying about. I don't know what it is.
I'll do an arcana on it for you, Lucille. Oh, sorry, 13.
Princess Luna starts investigating the surrounding areas. You sense a trace of magic that just seems to be this point where the books have been on the shelves. You sense a very strong presence, I guess, of both illusion and necromancy around this area.
Ghosts.
I
Is it
want to learn
ghosts?
from them.
Wasn't
And
there
if
a
it
bunch
is-
of illusion
sorry.
people on the other floor?
I can't remember. Maybe.
Unless they're invisible and then they're casting spells to like freak us out.
Woo!
What if Humblewood isn't really burning?
What if we're an illusion?
What?
What if there isn't really Humblewood?
All right, Lucille.
what
I'll
if-
just pretend that
What
I
if-
didn't see my
Oh,
family burn.
But as you look around these books, you feel a very strange sense of magic come across all of you. It almost feels like a shadow is falling on you. You notice that all your shadows seem to detach from you and scurry into the library books themselves.
This is like some Peter Pan.
Oh,
stuff
we get to
going on.
fight our shadows. Nice.
So it's a horrible shadow form of you. Jumps out at you, Lucille. So as it grabs you by the throat, you're going to have to take 11 points of necrotic damage as it holds you by the neck and tries to drain you. Your strength score is now also reduced by 4 points.
I used my short sword. 19. 6 damage.
So as you hit it with a short sword, it kind of passes through it. Some of the shadow flies off, but you can tell that this sword isn't hitting you or doing much damage as you anticipated.
I want to try and make peace. I'm going to start with my short swords. 16 with one, 7 with the other.
Your shadow jumps out at you as well, but you see it just out the corner of your eye and you slash down with your short sword. Again, you should technically cut off its head, but there's just kind of gasp of smoke comes up around his neck, but slightly more translucent than it was before, as then it's going to try and just seize you as well, reaching for your chest. 11 to hit.
No.
So as it reaches for you, you just kind of dive out of the way and duck underneath its grasp.
I am gonna use Firebolt. Does 23 hits?
23 definitely hits.
1d10 damage. 4 damage.
So you blast this fireball towards it. The thing hits it, and it seems to set fire, and then the fire just turns back into smoke, which reforms around it. With its own little bardic weapon in its hand, it's going to start playing a tune to you. Natural 20. Harold's shadow begins playing this horrible sound that is just targeting you. You're going to take 8 points of necrotic damage as this song resonates all around you.
I'm going to pull out one of my torches, so I'm going to hold that lit.
Lighting it, which classes your action as you get it out?
I'm going to light my torch and then hold it towards my shadow.
It kind of shies away from the brightness, and ducking under your torch is now going to swing a knife that you just grasped out of the air. That is an 8 + 4 to hit.
It doesn't hit.
So he lunges forward, but trying to also duck under the light from this torch, it just misses.
I cast Bane on the 4 nearest shadows. Start playing minor chords whilst looking at them menacingly.
So they've all failed, and they're all going to do minus D4 damage.
You're welcome, friend.
So Lilliput begins playing something softly menacing in F sharp minor, as all these shadows, they just turn towards you.
I use my short sword again. 23. Why am I rolling so high?
23 hits and roll
8.
So you swing now with your sword, and it cuts through it again. The shadow again reforms around it. After taking its hand off your throat, it's now going to go reaching for your head. 12 to hit.
No.
And you just duck down as its hands just come above you, and some kind of smoke just rains down over your head.
That's short sword again. 18 and 18.
Damage for both, please.
14.
Relic slashes down with 2 short swords. This time you feel more of a resistance through it, but as you cut into them again, smoke and shadow just dances across the room. The shadow is going to retaliate. 14 to hit.
No.
It kind of just grasps for you, and you just dance out the way.
Can I cast Detect Thoughts on my shadow?
Okay, so you cast a spell on the one right in front of you. The most prominent thought in its mind is just to kill. It's a command that's been given to kill you. You get a general sense that the spell has been cast on it to awaken it, and something more powerful than you is controlling it. So you get into its mind. It's slightly disoriented. It doesn't leap towards you. It just kind of goes in retaliation at the probing that you've done into its mind.
If these are our shadows, then why are we fighting our own? I'm going to fight Relic's one. I'm going to point my wand and fire it.
Oh no.
It's a small percentage of getting a lightning bolt. So 38.
There's a small chance of you getting lightning bolt.
Oh, you're joking. What?
Princess Luna blasts this wand of wonder, and a huge bolt of lightning, 100 feet long, smashes through the window at the far end of the library. Relic, please have a dexterity saving throw.
23.
Okay, you'll take half damage, I'm afraid. Please can you roll 8d6, Princess Luna?
That's a 33.
So you'll take half of that rounded down, please, Relic. And he will take... It's enough to kill it, actually. So...
Yes.
So the shadow dances out of the way, falls back down to the ground, where it reattaches to Relic as his own shadow. But Relic is then going to take 16 points of damage, and you just feel an immense shock as you're blasted off your feet. Princess Luna, your shadow, it's going to reach forward with a 16 to hit.
It hits.
6 points of necrotic damage as it just touches you, and its hand seems to go through your chest.
Okay, I'll cast Gust Barrier.
So Lillipad opens her arms wide, and she's enveloped in wind.
Sorry, guys.
And as the shadow reaches you, 8 to hit.
I'm cost 12.
So it reaches for you, and it gets hit by this wind and is thrown 10 feet backwards and just lands on the ground.
I use my short sword again. Natural 1.
Lucille jumps towards with the sword, and you lunge it into its chest, and you realise that the hilt sinks through, and you kind of fall through your own shadow, and you're now facing the opposite way to the way he's just been attacking you. And sensing his opportunity, he's going to spin around. That's only a 5 minus 2 to hit. As it reaches round to you, it's also very disoriented by your attack against it. And as it reaches round, it just spiral of arms, and it will miss.
I'm just going who is closest. 23 to hit.
You leap across now to hit the Lillipad, and you stab it in its chest, and you get your whole arm stuck into this thing. As you do, it feels really cold against your skin, or against your feathers even.
7 damage.
I'll use my rapier then. So 17 to hit.
You get your rapier, slash up, again another burst of shadow appears in the room. The whole room seems to darken as you do this one.
7 damage.
I'm going to use Burning Hands. Try and touch the shadow. Dexterity of 10, I think.
16.
Okay, so I'll just roll 3d6. Then
So as you do this, I also need a save from Harold and Lucille, please.
Natural 1.
I got
Okay.
17.
from the 3d6s is 7.
Lucille takes 7 points of fire damage. Harold, you take a 3, and your shadow also takes a 3. Oh, Lucille, your shadow as well also takes a 3, which is strangely enough to burn this thing.
I have a nasty knife. I'm going to stab mine with a nasty knife. 15 to hit.
So you lunge down with a nasty knife, stab it into its thing, and this one seems to do its actual damage that was intended. So rather than smoke vanishing up, it cuts into it and it seems to bleed almost. Turn the damage, please.
2.
Lucille, your shadow has died, so it's now you.
I take a death save.
I'm sorry, Lucy.
I got to. That's alright.
I'm going to attack Harold's shadow.
You jump across the table to do this with both short swords drawn and you slash.
19 and 20. 7 damage. Rubbish.
So as you leap down and you get both his short swords slashed into it, the rest of the shadows in the room flicker again as Harold drops to the ground. The room is plunged into darkness for about 5 seconds, and when it all unclouds itself, Princess Luna and Lilypad engage with their own shadows.
Can I go and cast Cure Wounds on Lucille then?
You can.
8.
You whisper a small song under your breath as Lucille opens her eyes and gasps for air.
Can I just dual wield daggers? And just like,
Yeah, if you want to.
so and a 9.
14 hits, which is 1d4 plus 3 damage, please.
That is 4 plus 3, 7.
As you hit it with the first dagger, the second one just kind of goes over its head as it cowers under the weight of this knife. So it's going to reach for you, reach for your face again. 17 minus 3.
It hits, yes.
And then it will be 10 damage.
I'm on 1 hit point.
And you just feel ice all the way through until it lands on your heart, and you just double over in just like agony. It withdraws its hand from you.
Nasty knife.
So you attack with your nasty knife
15 to hit.
and damage.
4.
Lilypad takes out its knife again and just runs it through the neck of this thing. Black just oozes out from the neck of this toad. So it's going to take one final swing at you if it can. 10 to hit. Its tongue just kind of goes and just trying to hit you with its tongue, and it fails.
I attack princesses. I'll use my short bow.
Draw an arrow and attack, please.
7.
7 goes right over its shoulder, hits a book in the corner, and you notice again that some more books further along the shelves fall off the shelf as well. You also hear a small cry from somewhere in a shelf further away.
I will go for Lilypad's shadow. That's a 7 to hit with 1. 14.
14 hits.
10 damage.
Relic lunges over the tables again, misses with the first sword as it goes swinging over its head, and as the second one comes lobbing down, you slice off the tongue of this shadow, and then from that, it's just like blackness just comes up around, smoke gathers all around you until the shadow vanishes and lands on the floor.
Can I cast Cure Wounds on Luna, please?
So you slide under the table to reach Princess Luna after just curing Lucille. Put your hand pretty much on Princess's ankle as you restore.
9.
I am attacking this shadow. I'm going to Ray of Frost it out of
Right.
Fury.
Cold Fury.
That is a natural 20 plus
Nice.
2 to hit, so 22.
Critical damage.
2.
So as Princess Luna suddenly heals, you cast this and it hits it pretty much square in the chest. Shadow turns just really ice cold blue, and all the smoke inside it seems to be almost lightning like. It recoils a little bit at this attack and then proceeds to try and hit you again. 2 minus 3 to minus 1. So it just reaches forward and its arm seems to vanish as it's reaching you as your spell is taking more and more of it.
Okay, nasty knife it. 15 again, every time.
Hits, and how much damage, please?
2. But I meant every single point.
You rush forward with a nasty knife and you just slash it in its back as you just reach from behind, and you see it crumble in front of you as the floor turns to smoke. All the shadows in the room seem to just now return to their usual positions, and then you are no longer in combat.
Wonderful.
What was that?
I feel like it was a necromancer and possibly the person who summoned the fire elemental.
Yeah, I think there is someone in the library with us.
Without
on
a
this.
shadow of a doubt.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Where was Kingsley through this whole thing?
You say he's moping over his lost love.
I feel horrendous for Kingsley.
Yeah, we wouldn't even listen to why he was sad.
As you're discussing where Kingsley is and what all's going on, the librarian rushes towards you. I'm so sorry I couldn't come any sooner. I heard all the kerfuffle, and there was an issue far in the
So
other.
I put my hand on his shoulder
This
and I'm
is
like,
Kingsley. This is the librarian.
my hand on his shoulder and I'm like, I understand.
We'll get your girlfriend back.
Librarian's about as convincing as a Scooby-Doo villain. He was definitely it.
If you want to roll an insight check, you can do.
Yes, that was him. 7.
You know he's hiding a lot, and there was definitely nothing going on in the southern wing of the library. So as he's telling this blatant lie, Lilypad is knowing that something's up with this fella.
Something's up with this fella.
Mr. Brarian, you liar.
So
Not at
formal.
all. So some kind of magic, and I had to deal with it. And I'm here now. What was the issue? What happened here?
Don't know, you're the one who caused it, Mr. Brarian.
Show us your magic history. Everyone's got it. Look, my last spell was Ray of Frost. I pull out a piece of paper that says Ray of Frost. And I'm like, if you hold this piece of paper, okay, it will tell us what your last spell was. Now, do you want to tell us now, or would you like to hold the piece of paper and then find out?
I can tell you now, my last spell was Misty Step as I was trying to get here.
Touch the piece of paper.
I don't think I need to prove myself to you.
Touch the piece of paper. If you want to prove it,
Intimidation.
can I use intimidation?
You can. Intimidation check, please.
He donned his foot necklace.
Oh, natural 20 plus 4.
Okay, fine. I'm sure. And he touches this paper and...
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
just
forgot the paper didn't do anything. I was hoping he would just confess.
The paper has no magic ability. You've just written Ray of Frost on there, I think.
Indeed, I have.
I assure you.
Can I use a detect magic on him?
You can cast detect magic on him, but
Yeah, he's just going to have to stand there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I do a little dance.
he does take a curious look at you, though, Lucille, and he's like, "You're not one of us, are you?"
Nope.
Interesting.
I'm not like other girls.
You're not humble folk, are you?
Nope.
How,
Yeah, you
how,
are.
How have you
No, I'm not.
Oh dear.
No, I'm only a gnome. I suddenly became sentient.
suddenly became sentient is quite an achievement. What's this gnome's name?
Badger knuckle.
I'm
I
gonna
spit on the ground.
thank you for your honesty. As you continue dancing, you cast detect magic, and to discuss what Lucille is, you detect some kind of illusion magic on this guy.
As in, what we're seeing isn't actually him.
You're not sure. You can just guess. You can get a massive sense of illusion magic over this guy.
Wait, can I ask the dean?
You can go up to the dean's quarters, yeah.
I go up to the dean's quarters.
So you go up to the dean's quarters. The platform rises, and you see him still at his desk, pulling a light one. Oh, it's you again.
Hey, Dean.
Hey.
Do you have a necromancer teacher here at the school?
We don't dabble in that kind of nonsense here. We settled for what is known fact. A few days ago, Professor Nightseed wanted to investigate some of the more, theoretical necromancy. She took a book from the library. Who cares really what she's studying? But Professor Nightseed would be the person to ask about this kind of stuff.
Can you show me to Professor Nightseed's quarters and I can wait outside her room?
That is a ridiculous request. I will not permit.
Where does Professor Nightseed teach?
Transmutation? I don't really care for what my professors teach. I trust them.
I'll see you later, Dean.
You got it. You head out.
I'm going to speak to the librarian a little bit more. Mr. Librarian.
He's carrying some books and he just jumps as he hears you, turns around and is like, yes,
Princess Luna. Yes.
Yes, Princess Luna.
Is there a reason that you're called a librarian? Is it because that you just like to lie all the time?
So there's a tall claims you're making, mister.
Because it was a very, very easy question that you could have just said no to. Why was it you pretended not to know who Sheldon the Shelled was? Or not to know what that stone was? Or not to know that you were the one that was doing the necromancy? I can actually sense that you have used necrotic magic recently.
Intimidation check, please.
7.
Okay, I'm just going to be clear with you. No lies, brutally honest. I've never met Sheldon the Shelled. That stone probably is a trinket. I've only been dabbling in necromancy because Professor Nightseed, she took a book the other night and I wanted to read it with her. It was just curious interest. She studies theoretical necromancy, nothing practical at all. Maybe you should question her about this strange beings that have occurred.
I'll have a conversation with Professor Nightseed. Thanks for your time, Mr. Brarian. I've taken away the lie for you. I feel you're telling the truth.
I would like to question the dean about this weird librarian.
Lucille's just come down as you come up another platform. Lilypad, you rise and you meet the dean, who is shocked again.
It's
I just
okay.
spoken with your friend down there. He's an interesting character.
Don't worry, he's very kind, really. What do you know about the creepy librarian dude?
Interesting person. Up to strange things these recent weeks. We just leave him to do his thing, but strange character for sure, yes.
Do you know anything about him, or you just hire people to let them run around your school like headless chickens? Don't know what else to ask. I'm not getting a lot here.
You roll an insight check.
Yeah. 10.
He's not sure about what the actual librarian's doing. You can guess that he's kind of up to no good. He's not really letting on to anything he does know.
Because I don't think he knows anything, I'm going to be honest.
That's pretty much very
Seems
similar.
to just be in his office. Okay, thank you, Mr. Dean.
Your platform descends again. It's night time now, so I'm guessing everyone's going to go back to your rooms.
I'm
The
sleeping in
library.
the transmutation classroom.
Whereas the other ones are like lecture rooms, this one's very much just like open tables, very practical field of magic. There's a large dome in terms of the classroom itself. The roof seems to be made of some kind of straw almost. And where would you like to hide in there?
On the teacher's desk. I'm just going to fall asleep there.
With an apple in your mouth.
Yeah.
The rest of you go back to your dormitory, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Hey Kingsley, how are you getting on?
Look what I found today. And he hands up a small handful of little stones.
Oh wow, where did you find these ones?
Have you been down to the river yet? The river's quite nice.
I haven't been down to the river yet, no, but it looks like you found a lot of different ones, so at least you're enjoying yourself. How are you feeling about Lexi?
Well, it was nice to have a friend for a little while.
On our way back to Alderheart, we'll try and find Lexi for you, and then you can like show her how your stone collection is, and then see if she's found any more stones as well.
Okay, I'd like that very much.
No worries, Kingsley.
This might be one of the only chances he gets to get an education, and we're like, how's your rock collecting going, guys?
And the next morning, Lucille, you wake up to a class coming in.
I'll be going to the class.
Can I do a bit more digging on Kingsley's parents?
Can I have an investigation check, please?
7.
You find some files throughout the day. You found almost all of his paperwork and noticed that there's so much stuff that's redacted, like permanently redacted from Kingsley's past. On his birth certificate, you've got his surname is redacted. His mother's name is mentioned, but you can't find a death certificate. Most of the one thing is just redacted. And you find similar stuff on other kids that are born around the same time and the same area.
Interesting.
Mm.
Can I look further into this?
You can I have another investigation check?
I really hope I roll like a natural 20. Oh! Wait.
Amazing. Okay. Harold spends this day in the library looking at records, and by the time you all find her later on in the day, you'll just see stacks of records across the tables all around her. You find massive collection, and you can gather from almost all of this that Kingsley was born in a bandit camp.
Whoa.
In a bandit camp.
In a bandit camp. Obviously, the father would be unknown. Everything else is redacted from him to save him. Amongst all the stuff, you do find that someone saved a bunch of kids and obviously then brought them to Meadowfen and raised them in either an orphanage or trained them up in some kind of merchant guild. So Kingsley would have been part of that.
I take all Kingsley's records, by the way.
I look for traces of toads in the kingdom.
Lilypad finds toads are quite rare in this place, especially sentient ones. The bard that you met is also similar. There's only about 3 or 4 major toad families. Those are not the main lines of toads. You've got a couple of others that are just like survivors of smaller families.
I just want to get to know the other toad more.
So you go to the bard and he's still in meditation.
We croak in harmonies.
Throughout the day, you learn that his nickname became Belch, based on the fact that he's toad, pretty much, and he's considered disgusting, and everyone just calls it as mocking.
I would like to paint myself a self-portrait. That's what I'm going to do with my day.
So Relic paints a beautiful portrait of himself. Meanwhile, in the transmutation classroom, Princess Luna comes in with the rest of the class to find Lucille on the desk with an apple in her mouth. The teacher comes in. What kind of practical joke is this? Is this supposed to be my book that you've turned into this? And then the class seem to huddle around you.
I quickly hide the apple and say, whoa, I used to be an apple. Now I'm alive.
Thanks to my handiwork, I've managed to turn this apple into a badger.
Okay, I don't think I've seen you in my class before, but you're clearly too advanced for what we're teaching today. But please, you may be seated.
I take a seat.
This teacher just begins teaching general stuff about transmutation magic. Lucille, you don't understand any of it. Princess Luna, you get a few new insights into how it all works. And by the end of the class, you approach this teacher.
Could you teach me something about necromancy?
Her eyes widen. She's like, necromancy is a forbidden form in this classroom. We don't speak of that form of magic.
However, the apple does raise a good point. The necromancy, if it is a forbidden form of magic, then why is the librarian doing it?
Do you have it on good terms that he has been forming such forbidden knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did lend me a book, but purely for my theoretical understanding of. I'm not going to ever practice it myself.
Well, we actually used an amulet of truth, which my friend Lilypad Allen has on her possession. She used that upon the librarian, and the librarian then confessed all the necromantic magic that he had learned stems from you in some way.
First, roll a deception check.
Yeah, of course. 18.
I can show you the book that he lent me. I haven't practiced anything, I assure you. I've taught him nothing. And she pulled out the drawer.
Bringing back Grandma for dummies.
It's called the Necromonicon Ex Corvus.
I guess I'll have a peek.
Have a look through it. You notice that a bunch of pages have been ripped out again. As she's looking into it too, she's like, oh, I had no idea that there were pages missing.
I'll let you off. However, I do have one more quick question for you. Do you know what this stone is?
Looks it over and is like, I can spend 4 or 5 hours with it in my possession to try and get a general understanding of how it might work.
No!
We'll spend 4 or 5 hours with the book, and you will spend 4 or 5 hours with the stone.
I've just got a few quick questions, Apple, before Applejack, before I do anything. Have you ever heard of Sheldon the Sheld or his associate, Antomidos?
They're turtles, right?
They are, yes.
It's been a really long time, but I know that there's an ancient sect of turtles who study magic together.
I was taught by Sheldon the Sheld.
So you're
there's...
one of the 9?
I would love to say yes, because that sounds awesome, but I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Do you have any books on the 9?
It's a different type of magic to what we study and teach. The library may contain something on the history of the sect.
I will leave you the stone for 1 hour.
I can get a general idea if it's magical for an hour, but a full day with it would be ideal to understand.
An hour? Question mark?
I'll take an hour, see what I can do. Just
Perfect.
promise you won't turn me in to the dean.
We're not going to breathe a word to the dean.
In return, can we spend an hour with this book?
Most of the book goes well over your head. After an hour, you notice that most of the important pages have been ripped out entirely, and all the rest of the stuff is just very, extremely theoretical. And after the hour, the teacher comes back to you, says, as much as I can learn, it must be some kind of piece to a larger puzzle. And as the day comes to a close, you all meet again at the library.
Okay, we'll come back tomorrow. See ya.
What, kill him?
I don't know what's he's hiding.
I was thinking of blinding him.
Blinded first, that's a good idea.
And then make him walk down some stairs.
I get bad vibes off
onto
him.
the little platform that there aren't stairs. There's like
Yeah.
little platforms.
He's a bird, though. He might just try and fly.
Yeah, but he could then fly into a wall.
That's
We
true.
can break one of his
Well-
wings.
We can break his wings and throw him off the tree.
What is
Is
our
that-
actual next step?
His information.
There's your book with the pages torn out. There's the Necronomicon, which we know the librarian has touched with the pages torn out.
Oh yeah, let's kill him.
How about we sort of intimidate him?
I think we need to try and find these missing pages.
Could I speak to the librarian?
Sure.
There's 2 things that I like to do with people when it comes to trophies. I either collect their feet or I take them to bed. So that's a bit of intimidation and
If you want to roll intimidation, you can do.
natural 20 plus 4, 24.
He's clearly terrified by either option of feet/bedroom activity. He takes a few steps backwards. Now, you can come back tomorrow and continue your study. I'm not going to take offense at you returning, but please can you leave at least for this evening, because we've got to close up.
I'm hiding.
Where are you
I
hiding?
stealthily follow him to his room.
Can I stealth checks from each of you, please? Although with disadvantage now because there's 2 of you. In a
Unnatural
30.
20.
Well, can I cast like a minor illusion so it looks like they're leaving with us?
You'll have to do that again with disadvantage because he's clearly aware you do magic.
22 and 15, so 15.
You successfully cast a mirror image of Lucille, where Lucille was standing as Lucille goes into hiding. You don't have to roll disadvantage anymore, Lucille. The rest of you leave the library and go back to your rooms.
I'm going to search his little desk area.
Relic stays in the library as Lucille sneakily follows him to his bedroom. He goes down a series of corridors, pulls out a book on the shelf, and a secret door is revealed, and he walks through that. Acrobatics check, just as he's jumping through.
18.
Lucille is able to jump through the door just as it slams closed. He looks back but doesn't see you in the shadows as he just continues down.
Okay, I wait overnight.
Relic, you begin searching his desk area. Can I have an investigation check, please?
11.
Some of the drawers are locked and you're unable to open them, but you do find a note from one of the books that's clearly been torn out, and you read it to say, slow such creatures down as it cools their molten exterior, eventually encasing them in a shell of hard earth and rendering them immobile. This is only temporary, however, and depending on the power of the creature, this immobilized state may only last for 1 hour.
That was from the using water on them should, I believe. So water should immobilize them or slow them down for an hour. I don't know. Surely I could use a sword to try and pry it open.
You can just keep attacking it if you want to, ramming your sword into his desk, making tons of noise. natural 2. So no one comes along as you keep demolishing the thing. You find a bunch more fragments from pages. One of them says that some of the most powerful elementals have been reported to regenerate themselves completely if destroyed. They do this through the vast reservoirs of aspected energy present in areas that have been infused with the elemental aura, normally through extended exposure to the elder elemental. And then the last one is, it seems to have been burnt out, as if thrown into a fire to try and destroy it, but then saved at the last second. It says, after its defeat, the aspect of ice lost a single shard, and it was sealed away. A dance of fire and ice maintains the wood's balance. If the fire wanes, it must wane slowly. Only then will the energies have time to ebb away. So it's talking about an old elemental ice.
I am going to just throw a few books around to distract this, not just the desk.
And then you go back to dormitory. So the rest of you are already there, except for Lucy, who's trapped to the ground.
I wait until the morning.
I share the information with the others.
You discover that basically the creature you've been fighting or running from is an aspect of fire, and it seems to be pretty much immortal. Requires a vast amount of energy to stop it. Princess Luna, you gather that some kind of aspect seal that's containing this energy. Morning comes with the librarian. You see him shrug on his robe, Xander, as he rushes down through the corridor to the destruction that Relic has left behind. So you're in a secret passage, and at the end of that is a door, and there'll be his room behind there.
I unlock it.
Can I have a thieves tool check?
I got a 16.
So as you put your lockpick in and you try doing your turning and all that type of stuff, it seems to be sealed magically.
Can I go speak to that teacher? Because they've got my stone.
Yeah, so you go
They've
back.
had a full day now to look at it.
This teacher has been up all night studying the stone. Feathers are all ruffled. Takes the glasses off and she's like, I have made so many breakthroughs all night with this. I've never seen such an artifact. It seems to be part of a key to a gate of some kind into a whole other plane. Like,
Oh, nice. That sounds so cool.
um,
And would you know by any chance how to use it? Or if this is just a key to a gate that's physically somewhere?
From my understanding of what you said, if one of the 9 surely gave it to you, and piecing it together, is that this would be surely one of 9. So
9 keys.
could be 9 keys, could be 9 gates, could be 1 gate. I'm not sure, but it's definitely part of something bigger than this plane itself.
Incredible.
Guard it well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hand it over to anyone else.
Thank you very much for looking into this for me. Sorry to have intimidated you yesterday. You actually turned out to be quite a reliable source of information, so thank you.
I think we leave with our newfound wisdom.
Lucile's back with us, so I'm all set to just go on our merry way.
On your way out, someone runs alongside the cart. Stop, please stop. It's one of the students. I've been asked by someone to give this to you, and hands you a small note. And on the note it says, the Forest Terrarium, Central Building, East Wing, midnight. Come alone.
Oh, very good.
Oh.